Hi, everybody. How you doing today? Welcome to the channel. It's your buddy Uncle Bruce with Stock Markets with Bruce. It says so right here on the sweatshirt I'm wearing. Available at your Redbubble store nearest you. Welcome one, welcome one. It's August the 26th. It's Thursday, and we're going to follow the markets again today in plain English, like we try to do every day. I try to explain to you what's happening out there in this wild and wacky world in a simplistic way to kind of keep away from the fancy words and terminologies that are being thrown out there all the time by the highfalutin know-it-alls who think they're just so smart. What what does it mean to us is maybe the answer I'm trying to get to you, let you know, yeah, this is happening. You know what that means? This is what this means. That's what I'm trying to do. Trying to get you, you know, keep ourselves educated as best we can with what little we have. Folks, welcome one and all to the channel today. Glad you're here from around the world. Love having you. We have a mixed opening setting up at the moment, and it's a nothing burger as far as the direction this market wants to start off with. Last night we closed at a record high on the S&P 500. We closed at a record high on Nasdaq. We are just short of a record high on the Dow Jones Industrials, like within a couple hundred points. We're that close. We have talked about it. It's possible 2 or 3 times even the actual share float there for GameStop. Imagine what Apple, Microsoft had out there trading beyond the float, be able to fake shares. Yes, I was mentioning last night. I was mentioning last night on the Late Show that $17 trillion are sitting in individual and small business owners' bank accounts in the United States, just in the U.S. 17 trillion in cash that is not doing anything right now, waiting to do something eventually, perhaps, or maybe only 10 or 20% of that will do something, and the rest will be held back as safety, rainy day money. That's a stunning number. That is a number that is disturbing to the Fed and to government. They don't like seeing this because this amount of capital held back for a rainy day means people are not generating jobs. This money could generate millions of jobs if it were to be moving. But that stimulus program that we saw passed the other day, and now this $3.5 trillion government thing that is in the committee stage now and is working its way through the Congress, this could make a difference. But I find it laughable that opposition politicians are saying, we shouldn't be passing these kinds of bills. This is going to crush the economy. And I'm thinking, what? It's a $3.5 trillion program, and the Americans are sitting on 17 trillion in cash. I don't know where 3.5 trillion all of a sudden is a problem anymore. This is chump change compared to what the problem is. We have a $17 trillion problem that isn't moving. This money should be turning over in the economy, would make this 3.5 trillion thing unnecessary, but government has to spur activity to get people to make moves, rebuild bridges and highways and ports and airports and all kinds of other infrastructure, and help the poor get off the streets, help them get into homes, help them get educated, get them medically looked after, get them out of sleeping bags and put them into beds. This generates economic activity. It's good for America. But the 3.5 trillion thing is kind of funny how small that is when you think about 17 trillion in cash being put in the mattress. It's not going, and that money is not making money. That's cash. How much interest are you getting for your cash? Nothing. You're getting nothing for your money. Amazing. You mentioned you need high volume to push the stock up. What is the explanation for big movements on little volume? Basically, you can get a move on a stock like GameStop in 4 or 5 minutes with only 462,000 shares, but you have to extrapolate that over a day. That if in 5 minutes the stock can go up on 400,000 shares, you're going to need 400,000 shares every 5 minutes to keep doing that. And so 12 times that is 50 million an hour. That's 300 million shares a day. We're not getting 300 million shares a day of trading on GameStop. There's no way that's happening. So you can move a stock early in the morning, midpoint on a quick succession of orders, but that will eventually not have an effect in the big picture. And so don't get too excited about that. Even if low volume can move a stock price and not last, are big jumps and gaps up in price a good thing? Well, it's a normal thing for newly listed companies that don't have a massive following. Normal. It's normal on the over-the-counter markets. It's normal on smaller junior markets. It's normal for new listings that just don't have multi-millions of followers yet into the stock. Once you do have multi-millions of followers into a stock, your spreads are down to pennies and will stay that way. But right now you might have gaps early days because you're in so early on this deal. That could be it. Anyway, there you have it. Quick question. If you get margin call, do you get like 24 hours to fix your margin so they don't liquidate instantly without notice? You might be given an hour or two. Normally when they contact you via email or a phone call, they'll say you need to make some moves in the next 30 minutes or we're going to make them for you. So you generally don't get a lot of time to make this to make this happen. Okay. I've noticed that companies that are largely or hugely owned by insiders usually are valued lower in PE or revenue multiples compared to companies with insiders only owning 10% of the company. Why is that? I don't have a simple answer for you other than to figure if institutions feel that they own more of the stock collectively, like say you got 15 institutions that collectively own 65% of a company, and only 35% of the company is held by insiders and public float and all that, then I guess you can have, theoretically, you could have a higher PE multiple if the 15 institutions are bragging about how great the company is. Maybe if Wall Street is heavily invested into a stock in a percentage ownership position, they have every reason to want their analysts to cover it and tell the world how great it is. Whereas if you have a founder owning 65% of the stock and the street only owns 35%, maybe the founder is not as eager to promote the stock because they own 65%. Nothing's going to happen as long as they're around. That could be it. Although I got to say, when Facebook went public, Zuckerberg owned a big chunk of the company. It still does. It's trading well. So I don't know. It depends, I guess. It depends how much of a stake, I guess, institutions have into a stock, whether they promote it or not. Can I buy back covered call expiring tomorrow? Yes, I have 4 CRMs covered calls at 275 strike price. Of course you can. You can buy them back anytime you want and rewrite any other contracts anytime you want. Obviously, anytime. It makes no difference. Up to you. Your covered calls are dying. Are they expiring tomorrow? And they're 270. You can buy them now. Sure. And rewrite new ones for next week if you want. Right now. Sure. Yeah, of course. Will be out of the money calls, 235 expiring today at the price reducing the day goes by. I'm trying to minimize cost to buy and roll on. Grazia from Italia. Grazia. Well, yes, the 235s will die worthless this afternoon. Tomorrow. Excuse me. Today is only Thursday. The 235s right now. Let's see. What are they showing right now? 305 to 355. They will crap out. Yes, they certainly will. They will drop in value dramatically as the day goes by because they're out of the money by $30. Obviously, you don't want to be exercised because you have to give up your shares. Is that why you buy it back? No, that's not the reason. Partially, but really what you want to do is avoid the fees. You'll get handling and admin fees if you get exercised. Those will be charged to you. You don't want to do that. Just clean the house, buy back the calls, and move on to your next trade. That's all. That's what you were doing in the first place, is try to make money on your calls. However you're doing it, writing and then buying back or buying to go long. Don't be looking to get exercised on stock like that. Thank you, everybody, for that. If you'd like to talk to me about a 1 hour session, you want to get together with me, send me an email through my email address, which is right here. It's the old school hotmail.com email address. Send me an email. Say, Bruce, I'd like to talk to you on a one-on-one session. When can you book me in? I'd like to make a reservation and lock it in right away.